I guess, now this is a bit of a strange angle because I've obviously got my phone here, and so I've got a film on my computer, which it just looks weird. So sorry if the quality isn't as good, but you'll live. So this is what's on my phone for 2019. So we've obviously got the iPhone 10. So we've got FaceTime for all my FaceTime calls. We've got calendar where I keep all my calendars. We've got photos, which holds all my photos. We've got camera, which I use for recording videos like this. We've got mail, which I use for getting mail. We've got clock, which I use for my alarm. We've got maps, which obviously is used for getting places. We've got the weather, which I use for the weather. We've got notes, which is where I keep all my scripts, videos like this. We've got reminders, where I keep my reminders, mostly for like homework and that. We've got news, where I read all the latest news. We've got stocks, which I don't use at all because I don't care about the share market. We've got TV, which I use for watching TV. We've got iTunes Store, which I don't use at all because I've got Apple Music, so I don't need to buy music. We've got the App Store, which you use to download apps. We've got books, which I use to read books. We've got health, which I use to record my health. We've got home, which I use for things like this. We've got wallet, which obviously has all my my cards in it. We've got settings, which obviously I use to change the settings on my phone. We've got phone, which obviously I use to call people. We've got Safari, which I use for browsing the web. Messages, which I use to send messages. We've got music, which I use to listen to music. We've got tips, which I look at in case I need tips. We've got podcasts, which I don't use because I don't actually listen to podcasts. We've got Find My iPhone, which I can use to find my iPhone. We've got Find Friends, which I can use to find my friends. We've got Contacts, which keeps all my contacts. We've got Files, which keeps all my files. We've got Watch, which I use for my watch. We've got Voice Memos, which I use for my voice memos. We've got Compass, which is obviously a compass. We've got Measure, which I use to measure things. We've got Calculator, which I use to calculate things. We've got Activity, which I use to look at all my activity rings on my watch. Well, fuck, isn't this a boring 4 minutes? We've got Feedback, which I use to send feedback on the iOS betas. We've got Apple Support, which I use to get support from Apple. Now we get into actual apps that I downloaded. So we've got my Newcastle Permanent app to manage all my bank monies. We've got the MeTime app, which I use to manage my rosters. We've got the Fresher app, which I use to book my haircuts. We've got the PayPal app, which I don't really use at all. But if you just want to send me money on PayPal, you can. I've got Afterpay, which I don't use at all. We've got Australia Post, which I use to track all my packages. We've got AdSense, which I use to track how much money I have made. which so far, just so you all know, is $1.78. I don't know if you can even see that. There you go. That's how much money I've made. I have X currency to, I don't know what I'm trying to say, convert currency. We have my ANZ app, which I use for my Apple Pay. We have my Macca's app, which I use to order all my food. We have the KFC app, which mobile ordering is not available in where I live. We have the Macca's Monopoly app, which I used for Macca's Monopoly. We have the Domino's app, which I use to order Domino's. We have the Uber Eats app, which isn't available here either. And we have the Uber app, which is also not available. I have the Telstra 24/7 app to check how far along in my data I am. We have the Apple Store app to buy Apple Store things. We have eBay to buy things. Amazon also to buy things. Goat to buy my shoes. Blade City to buy knives and other cool looking blades. And then we have StockX, where I bought my Yeezys. We have the Coles app, so I can shop at Coles. We have the Woolies app, so I can shop at Woolies. And we have the Big W app, so I can shop at Big W. Then we have some games. So I have Color Bump 3D, which is a game. You gotta like push the coloured blocks and shit out the way, and you're not allowed to touch the colours and stuff. And then we have Laser Puzzle Game, which is a cool game about lasers. And then we have Human Evolution, which is a cool game about human evolution. And then we have Paint Tower, where it's like reverse Tetris. And then we have Assassin's Creed Rebellion. We have Siri shortcuts, which I'd use when I'm filming. We have Logic Remote, which I don't use at all. We have the remote, which I don't even know what it does, but that's okay. We have the Apple TV remote, which I use for my Apple TV. We have the Ubisoft Club, which I check all my Ubisoft rewards. We have Pic Collage, which I make my thumbnails for all these videos. We have Apple Clips, which I don't use at all. We have iMovie, which I don't use either. We then have Keynote, Numbers and Pages for all my working needs. I don't know. We have GarageBand and Music Memos, which I don't use because I don't make music. We then have Instagram for, I don't know, Instagramming. We have Facebook for work, as well as Facebook Messenger for work. We have Bitmoji for Snapchat. We have Snapchat for talking to people, and we have Pinterest for school. We then have Netflix to watch all my Netflix. We have YouTube Studio, where I check how my videos are going. We have YouTube, where I watch YouTube. And we have WWDC, where I watch WWDC. We have Google Translate, where I translate words. We have Philips Hue, which I can control my lights with. We have the Cortana app, which I used for that video where I compared Cortana. We have the Amazon Alexa app, which I use to set up all my Alexa thingies. We have the Google Home app, which I use to set up all my Google Home thingies. We have the Google Assistant app. I don't use that at all, ever, but that's okay. We have the Telstra TV app to control my Telstra TV. We have the Ultimate Ears app, which I use to set up that speaker there. We have the Xbox app, which I use for my Xbox. We have the Compass app, which I use for school. We have the Service New South Wales app, which I tried to get a digital license, but it didn't work because it's not available yet. We have the Velocity app, which I use to get my digital Velocity card, which doesn't actually do anything. Because, see, look, if I double tap this and then I go down to my Velocity card, see, it's just got a QR scanner. But BP does not have a QR scanner, so I don't know what it's meant to do. We then have the Global Wallet app, which I can't figure out how to use. We have the Genius app, where I search for all my lyrics. We have the Flybys app, which I use to get my Flybuys card digitally. Where is it? There. Boom, Flybuys. Can't see it, but that's okay. And then I have my Gmail app, which I use for my mail for school. And then we have Let Me Out, which is another game that involves letting the car out. Yeah, so that's all I have on my phone for 2019. So yeah, thanks everyone so much for watching. If you liked, there's a like button down there. If you didn't, there's a door over there. And I will see you in the next one. Tic Tacs out.